Good morning and welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. This is your host, Keely Austin. Today is Monday the 8th, and we get to learn from Michael Huggins. Michael Huggins is an amazing individual who we are truly very fortunate to get to learn from. Michael has been incredibly successful at building his Renatus business, and what he gets to share with us is always extremely helpful. Michael and Vanessa came from a place where they were frustrated and they were broke. They were living in Vanessa's mother's basement. This was about 10 years ago. And Michael had done everything that he was told to do right as far as going to school, getting good grades, and he ended up going to school to get an auto mechanic degree to work on cars because he loves cars. And he still ended up broke and frustrated with student loans and then working 2 jobs, not having any time for himself. So he knew he needed to make a change. And he had heard about real estate investing. And I'm so grateful that Michael found Renatus. If we fast forward to today, now Michael has become, he's in the past been the #1 income earner. Right now he's the #2 income earner in the company. He has done numerous real estate transactions and most recently has purchased over 240 acres in Tennessee, just in a beautiful forest where they're building cabins and building a farm. And it's just really, really incredible what Vanessa and Michael have done with the Renatus system and what the Renatus system has enabled them to do. Michael is on the PAC with our CEO, Bob Snyder. The PAC is the President's Advisory Council, and he just has so much knowledge and wisdom to share with us. So I'm excited to learn what Michael has to share with us today. Good morning, Michael. How are you?
Good morning. Doing great. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the call. Money Monday. Here we are. In case you didn't know, it's also Vanessa's birthday. Yeah. So it's been a fun morning so far. I got to make her some breakfast, and I'm going to take a minute to talk to you guys. Just make sure we're all on the same page. Making money, changing lives. All lives matter. #. What a world we live in, huh? I wanted to share a little bit about the principle of how we can create personal development inside of somebody. And one of the challenges that our society has is we weren't taught a very specific perspective that I think has been very helpful for me and obviously helpful for a lot of other people. And so we'll say it a couple of different ways and we'll make sure it sticks. But the first thing is when we're recruiting students, when we're recruiting ICMs or marketers, when we're bringing people on board, one of the things is people are struggling already to see themselves in a new life. And that's what personal development is all about, is seeing yourself in a new life. So the principle here is make sure that you see people better than they are. See people better than they are. So one of the things behind that is, well, I'll give you an example. So the lady who brought me in, her name was Jody, and she, obviously knew my situation. I explained it to her. I was a bum. I was struggling. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any time. I didn't have any skills. But she saw me better than I was. Let's write this out here. All right, see them better than they are. Now, what that means, it can be taken many ways. So let me clarify. Why I'm saying this is better in that they are interested in improving. Everyone is interested in improving to some degree in different aspects of their life. So when you see someone better than they are, what happens is you start to treat people in a different way. If you're seeing someone better than they are, treat people in a different way. And that treatment then causes change. If someone was treating you worse than you were, how would you act? And I mean, they did a fantastic display of this with a bunch of kindergartners, just some school kids. And these school kids were put into two groups. Okay, not physically, but the teachers were told. Okay, it's a new school year. The teachers were told, these kids are all great students. And these kids are all bad students. Okay, now they're in the same class, but the teachers got a list. And then they were told, don't treat them differently. Okay, treat them all the same. But we just wanted to let you know, here's his list, but treat them the same. Right, the good kids and the bad kids. So, what's interesting is in some studies, when we say bad, what we really mean is difficulty learning. Difficulty learning, or behavior undesirable. I'm not going to put it that way. Just behavior issues. Okay. So these teachers were told, these are the bad kids, these are the good kids, treat them all the same. And at the end of the year, the quote unquote bad kids actually had better grades than the good kids. Now they started studying this more. The psychologists were like, what just happened? Because, you know, these were by definition bad kids. They were acting out. Last year they had performed poorly, but the teachers didn't know. And subconsciously, the teachers started treating them differently based off of what they saw. The teachers started treating them, treating them as they saw them. So because the teachers saw the bad kids, as good students, they started acting like good students. The children didn't know this was happening. The teachers didn't know that the lists were swapped. Only the psychologists and the professors and the study technicians, only they knew. So there's a big principle here, right? When you treat someone or you see them better than they are, you start to treat them in a different way than they've been treated before. And that causes the change. Now we could get into, all of society's issues from the beginning of when man left the cave. We're not going to do that. We're going to do it based on sales. But you can translate this lesson into anywhere. Okay? So when you see someone better than they are, you start treating them differently than you've treated them before, which causes them to change. Another way of putting this is Jim Rohn put it to me this way. He said, meet them in the mess, but don't leave them in the mess. Meet them in the mess, but don't leave them in the mess. So if someone's struggling with a particular issue, let's say reading, for example, right? Or watching classes. Hey, everybody, in case you didn't remember, it is up to you, no matter how long you've been in Renatus, to watch like 10 hours a week of class. Okay? 10 hours a week of class. That's just, it doesn't matter how long you've been in. 10 hours a week of class. So if week after week, month after month, maybe even for some of you year after year, you're not doing it, then we would say, okay, what's that like? If I'm over here and I'm able to watch my classes, no problem, and I get all the learning and my life starts to change and it's fantastic. And then we got a student over here whose laptop is closed, not watching classes. Well, what would that look like if we were to meet them in the mess? I have to put myself in their shoes. I have to be like, okay, let's come over here. Let's talk about this. Where are we at? What are you struggling with? What are your distractions? Right? What's going on in your mind? What are you thinking about on a daily basis? What are your habits? What's your schedule like? Okay? And then once you get that perspective, you've now met them in the mess. But the key is don't leave them in the mess. So now that you see where they're at, oh, okay, this is your world. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is come with me to this world, and this is how I deal with distractions. This is what I think about on a moment-by-moment basis. These are my new habits. Here's how my schedule works, and so on. And invite them to join you in this new way, and then treat them as if they are doing it. And they will. See, too often we're waiting for people to do something and then treat them like they're doing it. But tons and tons and tons of studies have already shown back from the 50s, 60s up until now. I mean, these are like on the books for 50, 60, 70 years, knowing that when we treat people the way that we see them, they're going to continue. So the key is to see them better than they are, to see an improved, stronger version of them. Right? Some of you have really, really annoying team members. I get it. And so you think, well, as soon as this person acts differently, then I'll treat them differently. But what if, because of how you treat them, they act that way? Now that's with students, but it's the same with prospects, and you're wanting to convert them to a sale. So meet them in the mess, but don't leave them in the mess. You know, sometimes when I'm sitting down with a prospect, or now, it's on the phone, but back in the day, especially, we can sit down and meet with someone, and you get to know them a little bit, right? Where are you from? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, why are you joining Renatus? And I would get people that say, well, I'm a felon. I've been to jail. I can't get a job. And I'm over here going, blah, 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 blah. I have 2 jobs. Or I know what, I had 2 jobs. I hated it, blah, blah, blah. And they would love to get a job, but they just are struggling to do it. So then when they look at Renatus and they go, oh, I can just get educated in this. I can change my life with the right education. But then they have a challenge of trying to see the gap, close the gap between me and them from where they are to where I am at. There's this gap, right? And most people will look at them and say, okay, well, dang it, you don't have a job. You've been to jail before. Now you got this record. And society treats them as they are. But I've been trained to teach people better than they are, treat people better than they are. So, for a couple years inside of my Renatus career, I just did my best to relate, right? Just trying to relate. Not quite sure what that's like. I know what it's like to struggle, right? I know what it's like to starve or to be hungry. I technically did eat food every day. Sometimes it was out of a trash can behind a Wendy's, but I did eat. And yeah, if you've never eaten out of a dumpster, you know, just wait till they close. Wendy's closes at 1 a.m. The food's still warm. There's plenty of it. Don't be picky. If you're hungry, go to town. There's a little insight into the wacky world of Michael for you. That was back when I was 18, 19. Crazy world. Anyway, so I'm trying to relate. And for some crazy reason, and I've told this story before at Super Saturdays, but one day, I'm driving my car. Here I am driving my car. I know it doesn't look like I'm driving my car. Just imagine it. And I get pulled over by the cops. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now this is back when I was doing science. So I've been pulled over before. And I think, oh, I just need to explain to them, you know, like, I know this running in and out of the car thing looks suspicious, but don't worry. I just putting up these signs, no big deal. Here's my license, here's my insurance. And about 20 minutes goes by, and they're still back there. 25 minutes goes by, and 3 more cars show up. You know, usually after a few minutes, they're walking back and giving me my paperwork. I'm on my way. But it's been a long time, and 3 more cars just showed up. Well, turns out I had a warrant for my arrest. I didn't know this. I had just moved addresses, so whatever they were trying to mail me, I wasn't getting it. And they arrested me right there on the spot. Arrested, taken to jail, and now I had a record, right? I'm stuck in this frickin' stupid system. The warrant was for an unpaid light ticket. I had a headlight out, got a ticket, fixed the headlight, forgot to pay the ticket, turned into a warrant. I get arrested, I go to jail, and now I'm sitting there wondering, how is this beneficial, right? Where is the benefit? I was like, no one's going to believe this, dude. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, sorry, we have to arrest you. Turn around. And like, I'm like, you don't need to handcuff me. I'll get in the car. And they're like, no, we need to handcuff you. What the hell? Like, my mom's not going to believe this. I'm going to need a record. I'm going to need a recording of your dash cam, because nobody's going to believe this. This is bullshit. I mean, this is crap. This is and it was January. It was like 2 degrees outside in Utah. I was cold. So I'm in the back of the cop car, handcuffed, going to jail. And, they get me to the jail. They handcuff me to a bar. They do all the uncomfortable things. They take off most of your clothes. They flip your shoes inside out. They pull the strings out of your shoes. They pull the insoles out of your shoes. They turn your wallet inside out. And then they poke and prod you every which way. It is incredibly uncomfortable. And so now, I have a choice here, right? I have two different perspectives I can look at. I can look at it as I'm a victim, blah, blah, blah. I can't do anything about this. Or I can start to focus on the benefits, right? It's hard when you're really freaking hungry, really cold, in handcuffs, next to a bunch of drunk people, drug addicts. They're by no fault of their own, falling into some crazy habits. And another topic for another day, but same thing with drug addicts. If you want change from a drug addict, you got to see them better than they are and start treating them better than they are, and will cause some change. But if you keep looking at someone as a drug addict, then they're going to keep acting that way, and you won't break any cycle. So anyway, here I am in jail, and no one's listening. I'm like, who's in charge? Get me out of here. Like, what do you want? The light ticket? I'll pay it right now. Get me out. And they're like, no, we got to process you. So I've been processed, right? So sitting there thinking, how's this beneficial? And then I get out, life goes on, pay the stupid thing, and I have another prospect. Someone else I'm talking to says, I'd love to do this Renatus thing, but I have a record. I've been to jail. And I went, you know what? Me also. Yo también. I have also been to jail. And look at me now. I'm a real estate investor. I got a marketing business. I'm making money. And you know what? I can see you succeeding. We got something in common now. You've been to jail. I've been to jail. So if I could do it, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And so I turned this opportunity, right, or this what looked like a big setback, instead of being a victim about it, I found the benefit. I found a way to be more relatable to people who are struggling to close the gap on the life they have versus the life they want. So that's what I mean when we say meet them in the mess, but don't leave them in the mess. Right? I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Feel, felt, found. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. But what I found was, and then you get to share your story and close the gap. So one of the big books I would like everybody to check out. It's an amazing book. It's called Change or Die. And they talk about the prison system and how that's a revolving door, but how we can create a certain amount of change so that people will stay out. They talk about drug addicts and helping people live a clean, sober life, love themselves, the whole thing. And they talk about obesity. And did you know that all of these have a lot in common psychologically? So the premise of the book, change or die, basically. If you don't change, you're going to die. So get the book. I forget who the author is, but if you just look it up, change or die, here, I'll look it up for you. Change or die. What's his name? Alan Deutschman. Alan Deutschman. Okay, so check out the book. Alan D. And it's going to give you such a perspective shift so that you can start to see people better than they are. And when you see them better than they are, you can treat them better than they are. When you treat them better than they are, boom. I remember being labeled as a bad kid in school. I still got good grades for some reason, but I was a bad kid. Vanessa and I are like the opposite in school. I thought everybody went to the principal's office at least once a year. All right, I thought the principal knew everybody's name. I thought this was just like, what? Like, oh, I'm going to the principal's office again. It's just one of those things. And turns out, no. Turns out that the principal doesn't know everybody, but they knew me. And I think maybe the principals from one school to the next were like talking and sharing what was going on because, man, I would just be in the principal's office and they'd say, what are you doing that for? And I'd explain it to them. But the challenge is, they would see me as this trouble kid, right? Why are you causing ruckus? I'm like, I'm not. I'm having fun. You call it ruckus. I call it fun. But then they would treat me that way. And then they would just expect it. And because they expected it, I would do it. And it was just this crazy cycle. So when we're trying to invoke change, this Renatus opportunity is an equal opportunity. But there are some people who are raised in a way that don't recognize subtle, I guess the word would be prejudices, likes and dislikes. I like this, I don't like that. You can be prejudiced about chips. I like Doritos, I don't like Lay's. Right? But that prejudice is ultimately what traps you. And it creates a limited life. So how do we get away from this? The key is to see them better than they are, whoever it is. Prospects, your kids, your neighbor, your mother-in-law, your whoever. I got an interesting neighbor here in Tennessee. They have 4 dogs. They run wild when I pull up to one of the gates. I don't go to that one very often, but when I go to it, I get bombarded with these freaking dogs. And at first, I see my neighbor and I think, what a neglectful jerk, letting these dogs bark at me. And so because of how I was seeing that person, I started, before I even talked to them, I started treating them in my mind like a jerk. Look at this jerk, letting their dogs bark at me. What a jerk. Look at my dogs. My dogs aren't barking at them. And, but I caught myself. The moment I saw them, because I couldn't actually see the neighbor, I just saw the dogs. And then one day I actually see the neighbor and I think, oh, well, hey, this is just a friend I haven't met yet. And if I spend enough time with them, and if I treat them like responsible neighbors or responsible dog owners, and I start to point out and recognize, hey, thanks for calling your dogs back. Hey, thanks for that. And I start to treat them this way. I see them in a better way. I start to treat them in a better way. I get a change. Instead of complaining, my neighbor sucks or those dogs suck, that's not going to create any change for me. I just get stuck in this loop. So it was weird to experience that just the other day, because for a couple months I had never seen the person, and so I just automatically hated them. Well, not hate, but like was super annoyed that they would let these four dogs run at me. They didn't ever like get too close, within like 10 feet. It was just four crazy loud barking dogs. I'm like, especially when I got my dog in the back of the Kubota. I'm not trying to get them all to jump out and touch your yucky flea tick dog. My dog's clean. See what I mean? Those yucky thoughts were not allowing me to connect with my neighbor. So here's the lesson. See them better than they are and meet them in the mess, but don't leave them in the mess. So like with my neighbor, if I were to meet them in the mess, I would go back to the days when I remembered that I didn't know how to train a dog. And I would meet them mentally there. And I would show them little by little. Hey, if you call them this way, if you treat them that way, you'll get a different result. And then I would treat him like a better dog owner, and then maybe soon our dogs can hang out. So our prospects, our leads, our team members, they all have a certain way of being that they're desiring change. Everybody wants change. We all want change. But we all want someone else to change, right? We want them to change. We want the cops to change. We want the government to change. We want people who pollute to change. Change, change, change. But I think it was, I always think is Mother Teresa. Maybe it was Mother Teresa, right? She said, be the change. Was that Mother Teresa? Yeah, that's the one, Zach. Be the change you wish to see in the world. So instead of waiting for them to change, we be the change. Oops. And that's one beautiful thing is as being a human. Right? Being a human is a human being. So it's all in the being. If we couldn't choose how we were being, then we would be called a human creature. And nature would decide how we're being, but we get to choose how we're being. So let's make sure we're inclusive. This very inclusive mindset, including everyone. That's why I love Bob Snyder. He doesn't see skin color. He doesn't see age. He doesn't see, religious backgrounds. He doesn't see, past mistakes as who you are now. He doesn't see, the choices you made yesterday are dooming you to today or tomorrow. Bob Snyder is one of those people because he's a change agent, right? He's a change agent in this world. He's giving people a way to change. He sees people better than they are, and so they start to act better than they are. That's what happened for me. That's what happened for so many people I see coming through the ranks. So when you're talking to someone and they say, I don't have money, what you might be inclined to do is say, well, I'm not talking to you then. And in a way, I mean, there's a balance between, you can't spend your time with unqualified prospects, but at the same time, this education, this is the problem that we fix. Hello, if they had money, they wouldn't be talking to you. So too often we look at people and go, oh, you don't have money, or you don't have time, or you got a bad habit, right? I used to do it with people who smoke, right? I used to be a smoker. I would smoke cigarettes. I used to think I was so cool. Look at me. I'm so cool. I can work on a car and smoke a cigarette at the same time. Wow, I'm cool. And then I quit. Cold turkey. I was so proud. Look at me changing my life. And then when I would see other people smoke, I'd be like, ugh, losers. You smoking losers. And I wouldn't see them better than they are. Until one day, I had a team member who I already liked. So I already had my prejudice towards them. I liked them. Prejudice goes both ways. Prejudice is not only negative. Prejudice is saying likes and dislikes. So I already decided I liked this team member. And then I found out that they were a smoker. They were just hiding it well. And I was like, oh man, my pride says I'm supposed to not like you. I'm getting caught up in this mess, this psychological game I was playing against myself. So glad I got over it. But here's what I did to get over it. Because again, we go back to our principle here. If I see them better than they are, I start to treat them in a different way, then they can cause a change. And if I meet them in the mess, but I don't leave them in the mess, right? So if I just met them in the mess and I said, I used to smoke, I don't, now you stop. That would just be, I meet them in the mess and leave them in the mess. But no, don't leave them in the mess. Right? It's not, I don't like you, it's, I don't like how you smell. So, for all of you who are smokers, or you have someone in your life that's a smoker, the whole thing of like, well, just quit, right? Just stop it. You know it's not good for you. Just quit. That's not strong enough. What happens is we need a reassociation. That's another way of saying, meet them in the mess, but don't leave them in the mess. Is create a reassociation. Right? See them better than they are. Or see them different. We don't want to use better or worse than. Different. See them different. A reassociation. So I'm going to give you guys a mental strategy for removing the habit of smoking cigarettes from your life in an easy way. You can use it on yourself. You can share it with others. And then you can take the same principle and start to apply it to your marketing, to your other conversations. I mean, we're wealth creators. We're abundance focusers. This is what we want to do. Okay, so stepping out of my pride and my ego. If I used to smoke and then I don't smoke anymore, society calls me, I'm supposed to follow this label of a non-smoker, right? These people are smokers, and now I'm a non-smoker. Well, what about the people over here who never smoked? Do we call them never smokers? No, that's stupid. We don't call them never smokers. They're not called anything. Okay, so that started making me think. Because what happens is these people try to offer you cigarettes. You say, oh, no, I don't smoke anymore, right? I'm a non-smoker. Oh, and then these people start to, well, sometimes they start to judge. Oh, what do you think? You're better than us? Look at Michael over here changing his life. He's a non-smoker. And I was like, I've been trained in NLP at this point. NLP. Neuro means brain. Linguistic means words. Program. Everyone knows what program means. Neuro-linguistic programming. Well, in neuro-linguistic programming, we're taught that our subconscious minds are unable to acknowledge a non. Our subconscious minds are unable to recognize a non. So if I'm being called a non-smoker, subconsciously, the subconscious mind negates this part and the label smoker is still there. So all these people that are struggling to get out of this habit that they don't want to necessarily be in, some people do, so obviously they're not struggling, but there's plenty of people who are. This neurolinguistic programming and this reassociation to go from I'm a smoker to now I'm a non-smoker, this reassociation is too negative. It's weak, it doesn't work. So then I started thinking, okay, well, if I go down the route, if I stay a smoker and we fast forward a few decades, what's the whole thing? Why don't we smoke? Well, what does it do to our lungs, right? Okay, so if I fast forward a decade, and then I ask myself about my quality of breathing, will I struggle to breathe? Or will it be easy to breathe? Well, if I stay a smoker, I am going to struggle to breathe. But these people over here who never smoked, chances are, and they're in their old age, they're going to be easy breathing. Easy breathing. So then I had an epiphany. I'm not a non-smoker because neurolinguistic programming works against me with that. I'm not a non-smoker, you son of a gun. You're an easy breather. I'm an easy breather. So instead of thinking I'm a non-smoker, when people said, oh, do you want to smoke? And I said, oh, I quit. And then all these people go over here, oh, look at Michael, right? He's a quitter. Nobody likes a quitter. Blah, blah, blah. Is it stupid language on you? Instead of saying I quit, I say no thanks. You know why? No thanks, because I'm an easy breather. And now I have such a powerful reassociation to an action I want to take. I want it to be easy to breathe in my life. Now I'm breathing easy all day, especially in this forest, all this oxygen out of the city. All these people stop driving their cars. All this pollution's gone way down. We're all breathing easy. A lot easier anyway. And so once I was able to kick this habit, I'm an easy breather. Holy cow. I now have this incredible tool. So when I found out that I had this teammate that I already liked, but was a secret smoker, which tells me if they're a secret smoker, they obviously don't like it. And they're trying to hide it. They're not proud of it. They want to make a change. They just haven't found the tools. And I gave them this tool of being an easy breather. I said, look, why don't you, instead of, and I related with him. I said, I've been through it all. People say, oh, nobody likes a quitter. Right? I've been through it all. I don't want to be a non-smoker. That just puts me in a different category of people. I'm away from this category of people for some reason, even though I do the same thing. I don't smoke, but because I used to, puts me in a different category. I don't want that shit. That doesn't help me. So instead, what do we have in common between these two groups? We're easy breathers. So I've actually helped over 20 team members become easy breathers. Some of them did it in a month. Some of them it took 6 months to work out all the habits and reassociations. But how easy is it to judge a stinky ass cigarette smoker, especially when you're in a business setting? You're talking to a guest, they come up with their stink face, they breathe all over you. It's like, dude, you just got it all over my suit. You got it on my guest. Just your yucky breath. It's easy to be biased and to be hateful and to segregate and to discriminate and to judge. It's easy to do that shit and stuff. It's easy, but you know what's easy to do? It's also easy not to. What's easy to do is also easy not to do. So once you have this tool in your mind, this is simply a tool. Both of these here are tools. See them better than they are is a tool, and meet them in the mess, but don't leave them in the mess. It's the same kind of tool, but just, you know, the other side of it. These are tools, mental tools that we can use to create relationships, to create bonds, to create change. We want change. We want our lives to change. We want the world to change. We want to, you know, I got a baby now. We've got to make this world a better place for Benjamin, damn it. Not just for me, but for Benjamin. So, be the change agent. See people better than they are. When they say I don't have money, you say fantastic. Join this company because we will start to treat you like you have money. Start to treat you like you have time. Start to treat you in this way that you want to be treated so that you can start doing what you want to do. Okay, now I just realized we're close to the top of the hour. I haven't looked at the chat box all day. We got some chats going on. Oh, wow. Okay, yes, happy birthday. Oh yeah, I used to sell my blood plasma for money. It's funny, they call it donate, but then they give you money at the end of it, right? You're not donating, you're selling your plasma. Now it's cool. People need plasma, you know, people who experience burns and stuff, people who go through skin transplants, they need plasma in order to make those transplants happen. But if I was doing it twice a week just to eat, man, they would give me $65 so I could eat. It was bad. Okay. All right. I'm loving your comments here. Oh, Brandon Anderson. So, Brandon Anderson, we did have this conversation, didn't we? Are you an easy breather now? Yep. Yep.
I am.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing. Okay. So the name of the book is called Change or Die. Thanks, Patricia.
But that conversation was based on me being a felon.
Oh yeah, that too, huh? And now you've done a couple wholesale deals. You're a part of our marketing team. Nobody's looking at you as like, oh, Brandon, he has a record. No, that was the past, right? So, quick reminder before we're out of here is we have a schedule change. 2 major changes, right? Just talked about change. Comp plan change, that's awesome. But our schedule change. Schedule. So last Friday was the last Friday group follow-up. I received feedback. I got 129 people at the top, at the peak of today, on today's call. 129. Now, if all 129 of you showed up, or even 100 or even 80 of you showed up, we would keep our Friday follow-ups. But only the presenter, 2 or 3 guests, and then a bunch of volunteers to help with check-in and registration and running the event. They would show up. We said, you know what? Obviously, our team doesn't want it. So the Friday follow-up, the group Friday follow-up is no longer a thing. Okay, if you know down the road people start asking for it, then we can bring it back. But for now, if you're going to do your follow-ups on Friday, you're doing your one-on-ones, you're doing it with your team, you're using the recordings. Okay, Or you use the live Thursday follow-up. Because we're still doing that in a group setting. But we're doing it all on Thursdays, right? On Thursdays, there's the English intro, Spanish intro, the follow-up, the mastermind, onboarding. There's plenty of stuff happening on Thursday. Okay, so that's the change this week. Okay. Another change that's happening is Thursdays are now going to be 1 hour for the intro. You guys have been asking for it, and now you get it. A 1 hour intro. No longer is it going to be 2 hours. It might even be 45 minutes. Might even. Okay. And we've been receiving a lot of requests to make it earlier in the day. We'll call people back. They say, hey, what did you like best about what you saw? And they're saying things like, well, I kind of saw it, but we were eating dinner. I kind of saw it, but I was putting my baby to bed. I'm like, what? Oh yeah, babies go to bed early. Okay. So starting next week, we're going to be doing it at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Now, if everything goes well and people are like, well, okay, we fit it into 1 hour. It's at 6 p.m. Maybe we will do one at 6 and at 7 p.m., depending on attendance and requests and everything with that. Okay. So I'm going to give you one last statement here to make sure you see people better than they are. There's 3 points here. Point number 1. They have dreams just like me. Number 2, they have fears just like me. And number 3, they have untapped potential just like me. This is how you can really start to see people in a different setting, see them in a different light. All right, you guys, appreciate your comments. Okay, I mean, if we need to bring back the Friday follow-up, we'll see it in the numbers. Just by the attendance, man, it was something that was just not, it wasn't working. So 6 o'clock Thursday, 6 o'clock Mountain Time. We'll see you there. If we need to make some more changes, again, be on your toes. We're not stuck in concrete. Things can change.
Hey, Michael, will the rest of the classes be at 7?
No, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock for everything. 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 o'clock Central. And that way our East Coast friends don't have to stay up till midnight. But, you know, keep showing up to this. If we need to make some adjustments, you know, this is talk about it. So if it is to be, it is up to me. Did you have something to add, Skylar?
I was just going to remind people that this Thursday is still happening at 7 p.m. Next week is when we're switching to the earlier schedule. So just wanted to reiterate that.
Perfect. Yes. Next week we're switching. But according to our research, these changes are going to make us more money. So that's why we're doing it. We're here to help you hit your goals. Okay, now I'm super late to the pack call. Gotta go. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Have a fantastic day.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
You got to end this.
All right. See you later, everybody.
Bye.